Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Namaste, beloved beings of light. Happy pink full moon in Scorpio and most sacred Vesak celebration of the birth, life, enlightenment, death, and nirvana of Shakyamuni Buddha of this timeline. Hope your day is most beautiful and blessed. I'm joined today, I'm here with my sacred friend, Merlin, the dragon staff. I started working on him again. Some of you remember Merlin. He's my healing staff. So I work directly with the Merlin energies of the sorcerer, the shaman, the medicine man, the healer. And this is Merlin, the dragon staff. You see, I plan on doing some gold leaf on the back here. You see the horns from Nepal. This is a Tibetan stone here. And we got these eyes, beautiful gemstones. So I've been doing some wood burning here. I want to do the white and the gold, the white paint and then the gold leaf, for white gold eagle, symbolic of the white and the gold coming together, the white of the source creator and the gold of the Christos Sophia consciousness of Buddha mind, Buddha awakening. So I want to talk a few things today, share a few things, some teaching, some knowledge, some health and wellness information. Also, a story of Buddha, of Gautama, Shakyamuni Gautama, Prince Siddhartha. So I'm going to start today for the special day of this Scorpio full moon. We're traveling into the underworld. This is water energy, divine feminine, of the void, of the emptiness. So you might feel as if you're in between worlds. We have intense energies coming in. Last time I checked, we're up to 10 C-class solar flares and 5 M-class. So the Solaris, our local sun, is blasting us with these gamma plasma waves. This is the mother plasma. So this is all coming together through this powerful portal. So we're feeling this energy of the scorpionic, of the fixed water. So this is powerful water, divine feminine, divine goddess energy. So I'm going to start playing a little flute to get your mind, to relax your mind, to relax your nervous system, and to get you into the presence of this present moment for this special talk. I'll be covering a few things today, a couple on health and wellness, and this very special Vesak day. So we'll start, take some slow, deep breaths. Feel into your body, feel into your sacred vessel, and let go into the sound. Whatever rises up, allow it to move through you, anchor into the earth. Also, Pachamama rising up, her heartbeat today. We saw spikes of white light on the Schumann charts, up to 50 hertz. This is 5th dimensional energy anchoring in. So we have some Wing Nation joining us as usual. So just take some slow, deep breaths, conscious breathing. I'm in an altered state. I've been fasting for the last 17 hours, and I'll discuss that, the importance of self-care in this time, especially in this year of the wood dragon. We're going to get into some health and wellness teachings, some spiritual teachings, and then bid you adieu. So take a deep breath, slow deep breaths in and out your nose. Feel into the energy. It's a beautiful, still day here in La Matrica. Aho. Much blessings, love, and bliss in the light. Took some notes again today. I didn't have a lot of time again to prepare for this special transmission, for this Dharma, this truth, this transmission of knowledge, of gnosis. So yes, my sacred condor and I have been stepping deeply into our self-care, our healing, our health, our wellness through the Reiki energy, through our diet, through supplements. And I'm starting a new channel on YouTube, which is it's only gonna be about health and wellness, health in the body, health in the mind, health in the spirit, turning our physical vessel. It's very important that our physical body is at the highest vibration of our ultimate health to assist us in this great ascension process and with all these ascension symptoms. So one thing that my sacred condor, my queen, and I have been doing a lot of research is the benefits of fasting. I've done in the past many different kinds of diets, many different kinds of fasting. There's multiple different kinds of fasting, such as intermittent fasting or the warrior diet, where you eat once a day. I've done that in the past, experimented with many different things. Buckminster Fuller would say, live life like an experiment. So when we fast in the body, up to, there's day fast, there's intermittent fasting, 17, 18 hours, eating once a day. There's 24-hour fast, 48, some up to a week. But, one of the things when we're fasting, our body goes into super healing mode. All our resources, instead of going into digestion and all these waste removal, all our resources can then get put into our healing process, our immunity, our autonomic immunity system, our immune system. So one of the best benefits, one of the greatest benefits, there's many benefits to fasting and nutritional supplementation. I'll be releasing on this channel, let you all know when our health and wellness channel is live. We're going to call it Health and Wellness Guru. It's kind of a spin on words and kind of a joke also. But, guru mean teacher. But, as all of you know, many of you know that in the New Age community, there's a lot of controversy around this concept. So we're kind of play on that a little bit. And also, it'll just be in health and wellness, because as those of you that follow the channel know that we're getting a lot of strikes on our channels. One of my channels shut down. Two of my channels have gotten community strikes. Now they're deleting videos and they're threatening to shut down all our channels. So if for some reason they shut our channels down or suppress our work or demonetize this channel, as those of you know, Prime Disclosure was demonetized, which means I no longer receive funds. So that was about a 10% of our income hit. So we appreciate everyone that stepped forward to help support us financially through this shifting time. So every dollar helps. You can support us on eaglelovecondor.com. So this channel and this new channel I'm working on, I've been working many, many hours on, it'll be mostly health and wellness teachings, practices, tools, these things. So we'll release that in the next couple of weeks, the channel, our new channel. So one of the benefits we're discovering of fasting is a state of what is called autophagy. Now, autophagy is a natural process that breaks down and recycles unnecessary or dysfunctional components of a cell. This is cellular regeneration, transformation. And they believe, scientists, doctors believe that your body goes into a state of autophagy when you, up to beginning at about 17 to 20 hours of fasting. So we find in this state that it also helps rejuvenate, repair damaged mitochondria within the cell. The mitochondria is like the powerhouse. It's like the energy storage of each cell. And, due to many factors such as age, as you age, the mitochondria sometimes gets weaker. Our diet, toxins in the environment, there's many things that go into like the mitochondria being damaged, going into disease, diseased. And so this is a very important thing. Now, autophagy was discovered by a Japanese doctor, a brilliant mind called Dr. Osumi. He's a doctor of biology, and he won the Nobel Prize in Physiology or the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 2016 for his discovery of autophagy. And two people that we recommend, my Sacred Condor has been doing a lot of research, especially through Dr. Mindy Pelz, P-E-L-Z. She's doing amazing work, and especially with the feminine cycle. My Sacred Condor is going to work on a PowerPoint for all of you for the divine feminine, you see, because the male and the female are different as far as the fasting cycles. See, the male, we can just fast. We don't have to follow any cycle because we go through a daily cycle. As you all know, the feminine, the female goes through a monthly cycle. We call the moon cycle or the menstrual cycle. So the fasting, you want to change as the different phases of your moon cycle. So my Sacred Condor is going to work on an amazing, beautiful presentation for all of you on how to the cycling of your fasting through your moon cycle. So we'll release that through our health and wellness channel, and we'll let you know through this channel when she gets that completed. It's going to be several weeks possibly. She's putting a lot of time and effort into understanding and into learning, educating herself on this very important health and wellness, you can call technique or system, to help your body at the highest level. Another very interesting thing that they discovered with autophagy, some people say autophagy, but most people say autophagy. I prefer that. It kind of rings better with my mind. It took me a minute to get that down. So a very interesting thing that these scientists and doctors doing their research found that when your body's in a state of autophagy, that it is not possible for viruses to replicate. You see, viruses aren't living biology. They're more like code of nature. So these viruses replicate when the cells are weakened, when your cellular structure is weakened. So when you're in a state of autophagy, that these things cannot replicate. You see, viruses, bacteria, they get in the body, and then there's a duplication process that happens that, as you all know, that's when we say we become sick, when these symptoms rise up, through different, like say cold viruses, stuff like that, they get in the body and they use weakened cells to replicate, to duplicate, and then expand. Cancer cells also work the same way. And autophagy, the research is showing that it helps to eliminate and heal cancer cells too. So we recommend Dr. Mindy Pelz. Also Dr. Berg talks a lot about autophagy and fasting, so you can study his work too. So today, on this very auspicious day, many are celebrating the Scorpio full moon. We call the pink full moon. Now this is the full moon in April today. Also, many spiritual traditions are celebrating the Jews' Passover time, the Hindu Hanuman, and the Buddhist Vesak. Vesak ceremony is the birth, the life, the enlightenment of Shakyamuni Buddha, we say Gautama Buddha. This was about 2,500 years ago in current day India. People say he was born in Nepal. Some people say Nepal, but Nepal didn't exist 2,500 years ago. This was what some scholars believe they called Hindustan, was this region, this region we now call India. So this pink full moon, it wasn't named after the color pink of the moon, but they believe that Eastern Native American tribes coined this pink moon after the wildflowers that bloom in the springtime. And specifically the flower is called the phlox subulata. Subulata is either is also called pink phlox or creeping phlox or moss pink, after the color of this beautiful wildflower. You can look that up. And as we all know, Scorpio, water. This is the deep, dark water, the deep depths, going deep within. It's fixed water. You see, this is the opposite of Taurus. Taurus on the zodiac wheel. You have Taurus here and Scorpio here. They're opposites. I have many stories. One of my sifus, the gold dragon, he was Scorpio. And the Scorpio, it's very spiritual, deep spirituality. The gold dragon, one of the gold dragons of one of the lineages I trained in many years and taught, of the Kunlun lineage. He was born on, of course, Halloween. Halloween, the Scorpio energy, the underworld, the other side, the bardo, in between worlds. See, that's why many of us feeling in between worlds now. And this is the deep depths of the scorpionic energy. So we're feeling this. Some people are going through a dark night of a soul. Dark night of the soul is for us to do shadow work. Some people call shadow work, where we face our traumas, we heal, we transform, we are empowered by the power that is within our God-given natural state we call Buddha mind, which is pure awareness. We talk a lot about this in our teachings and practices. So the spiritual meaning of pink and this pink moon is love, compassion, inner peace. It also symbolizes your right relationship with God. It's the mixture of red and white. See, red and white in the yin yang and the Taoist philosophy of the East. You see the yin energy is the black, the yang, the white, but also in the physical, it's the yin energy, the divine feminine, the water, is blue and black. The divine masculine, yang, is red and white. So when you mix the yang, the fire energies of the divine masculine, you get the pink color. So the pink, also the heart chakra, it's green, or sometimes symbolized pink, obviously symbolizing love. We see that symbolism throughout many different traditions. So this is the time to go within, deep within, to find the kingdom of heaven within, to seek the kingdom of heaven within your sacred vessel, to transform and to assist our good people of the new earth in this great awakening process, in this ascension, in this enlightenment process. So I wanted to briefly tell you a story about Shakyamuni Buddha. See, Shakyamuni, named after the Shakya kingdom, or the Shakya clan of current day India. You see, the Shakyamuni Buddha of this timeline. Buddha in Sanskrit means awakened one. You see, we all have Buddha nature. We all come from the same source. We all have Buddha nature. And through meditation, through our spiritual practices, we attain a state called Buddhahood, or enlightenment. And this is realizing your true nature and realizing that all that we're experiencing here in this realm is merely an illusion. It is a dream. Within this dream is great beauty and great suffering. So the Buddha said life is suffering, but the cause of suffering is desire, or what we call the hungry ghost. Not being satisfied, not being at peace. Always looking for more and more and more, instead of being present, being grateful for the I am, what we have now, our present state of mind. So the Buddha, he was born a prince, the son of a king and queen of Shakya, of this kingdom in India. And when he was born, you see the royalty of different nations, throughout time, they had astrologers, they had seers, they had shamans, medicine men and women. They had, these sorcerers, these are all different names for these seers, these prophets, these medicine people. You see, when the seers, when people that could see into the future, psychics, you might say, came to the queen and king of Shakya, they saw this beautiful being born, and they told the king, this child is going to grow up to either be the greatest king that's ever lived or the greatest spiritual leader. And the king said, whoa, because this was his only child. This was their only son. So the son in this was like a patriarchy system. So the son would take over the kingdom. And they freaked out. The king freaked out and said, wait, my son might be a spiritual leader, because he knew he couldn't be a king and also like a monk, a prophet or whatever. He had to choose. So they came up with this system that where they didn't want this child. They wanted this child to grow up as a prince and then become king one day. So what they did, they didn't want this child to see or experience any suffering. So in their kingdom, they wouldn't let sick people, they wouldn't let elderly people dying. They took them out of the kingdom. So this prince never saw sickness, death, all these things of suffering, from the day he was born till like 16 years old. You see, so he had a consort, a teacher, a guru that taught him the ways of the kingdom, of being a prince, of running a kingdom, everything from healing arts to literature, literary arts to reading, writing. And his teacher was not allowed to lie to him. He had to always tell him the truth. So the Buddha of this timeline, who we call, he was Siddhartha Gautama was his birth name, Siddhartha. So they say Prince Siddhartha was who eventually became the Buddha. And what happened at 16 years old, his teacher took him outside the kingdom walls, and he saw a sick person, someone that was, I think it was leprosy or something. And he asked his teacher, what is going on here? What is this? He was shocked. He never saw a sick person. So his teacher said, this person he's sick, he's ill, he has leprosy. And the Buddha, Siddhartha was like, what is this? He goes, people sometimes get sick. It's an illness. Their body breaks down. And it freaked out the prince. Imagine your whole life you didn't even know sickness existed. You didn't know death existed. No one taught you these things, and you never witnessed it, so you didn't know. So it was very traumatic. He said, can I get sick? And the teacher said, possibly. We give you the best foods, you have the best healing, you have shamans, you're surrounded with fresh organic foods and all these things. So it freaked him out. He said, oh, I don't ever want to be sick. This sounds horrible. So they go back about their business, and then several weeks later, he takes him outside the kingdom. The Prince Siddhartha said, I want to learn more about what's going on outside the kingdom. And then he saw an old person, an elderly man with a cane, gray hair, and he said, what is this? And the teacher said, this is an old person. He said, people get old? What is this? As you get older, the body can weaken, you might become more frail. And he saw this old man suffering. His back was crooked and he was wobbling around. He said, in a weakened state, he said, I don't like this. It freaked him out. He was upset. He said, am I going to get old? He said, one day you'll get old. We all age. That freaked him out even more. It's just traumatic, Think about never seeing an old person, and you realize I might get old one day. And then several weeks later, the teacher took him outside the palace again, outside of his protected area. That's all he knew. And he said he saw a dead person, death by the side of the road. And he asked the teacher, what is this? He said, it's a dead body. This person passed. And he said, what is death? And he said, well, the body eventually one day dies and you leave this realm. Where do you go? He said, I don't know. It's a mystery. We have this concept of the pure land or heaven, but I can't prove it to you. And if that really pushed Prince Siddhartha over the edge, he said, I'm going to die one day. And the teacher said, yes. I can't lie to you. One day you will leave this realm. And that was what sealed his fate, the Buddha's fate. He said, I got to learn about this death and what happens when we die and where we go on the other side, what happens. And it was so traumatic that it pushed him totally over the edge. And he vowed to say, I'm going to learn this. So that's when he went to the gurus of that time. And at that time, the main religion, 2,500 years ago, still to this day, is Hinduism, Hindu. So he went to the Hindu gurus, started learning about the path and about the path of Hinduism and about Lord Shiva and Rama. And he started doing the yogic practices and meditation, and he became a very austere. He put all his life force into, I have to, free myself from the suffering, from this sickness, this old age, this death. What do I do? And they taught about the wheel of karma and the wheel of reincarnation, that you're trapped in the samsara, in this wheel. And he thought, this is horrible. I must find a way to free myself. So he practiced to where he would starve his body. These were very austere, very strict, going into weeks of fasting and, letting the body go. Like, the body's not important. We must get into the spirit, very extreme, austere. And he would meditate for hours and hours and hours and fast for days and days and days until he became sick, starvation, to where he was dying. He was on his deathbed after years of this very mendicant, we call mendicant monks, which is very, austere, very strict, very disciplined, and to giving up the physical vessel, to letting go of the vessel, beyond, many teachers of the past, many spiritual leaders went through this great trauma and great suffering, and, which many of us did. Many of us that teach the path went through great suffering. Not that you need to suffer here. You have to go through great trauma to come to the truth, but most do. Most people have, that's what the trigger point is, where you say, I'm done with this matrix, or I've had enough. That happened at a very young age for me. That's why at a very young age, I sought these masters and teachers, because these religions didn't do it for me. All religions did with these dogmas was disturb me, and aggravate me, because I knew the lies that were coming out of these dogmas. And so I sought the ways of the East, as all of you know that follow this channel. I trained with Zen masters and, the Buddhist lineage and the shamans and the Taoists. And, I had to go to all the different, lineages and masters to come up with my own philosophy and realize the truth, of these ways. So after many months of this, letting his body go, not feeding, he was starving to death. And as he laid there, his body dying, a child came to him, a small child, and saw him dying, and he was starving and skin and bones. He ran into his parents and said, this man's dying. So they prepared rice, gruel, rice and milk, and the child went to the Buddha and fed him this, and actually saved his life. And he regained his health and started eating, and then he sat, to the story, as he sat under the Bodhi tree. The Bodhi is the awakened mind, Bodhi, the Bodhi tree. And the Buddha said, I will sit here. I'm not going to neglect my body. I'm going to feed it, but I'm also going to sit in meditation, no matter what arises, no matter what comes, until I am fully enlightened and freed from this matrix, which, they called Maya. Back then, Maya was illusion. How do I free myself from this illusion? That is the path many of us take. That is what, inspires us, which motivates us to do these intense, powerful practices, which can be a strain on the body, a strain on the mind. As many of you know that practice these esoteric arts. At 17 years old, I was sitting in full lotus in the temple, in the monastery, until my legs fell asleep. I said, I'm not going to stop this practice. I'm not going to give up until I'm enlightened, until I'm free from this samsara, from the suffering, from this pain that I experienced as a child. Many years of trauma, torture, and pain that brought me to the teachers. So the Buddha sat, and as he sat in meditation and samadhi, the Maya, the illusion, tried to sway him in his conviction of this enlightenment. They didn't want this being to free. You see, the archons don't want humanity to be free. They want the story to go on and on. See, the archons, although they were doing a job, that they became addicted to this suffering and wanted to keep this thing going. That was part of their job, to keep this matrix going long enough for consciousness to evolve to this point of unity consciousness, which we're at now. So their job's done. We're letting them go. They're relieved of their job. So It's very symbolic, so you can take what you will. Use your own discernment, your own discretion, and take what resonates and leave all the rest behind, we say. Because this isn't about a controversy or drama. This is about truth. It's about being true, being a real human being, not about being right or wrong or better than, less than. This is about equality. This is about unity. So the Buddha sat in zazen and meditation, very still, and Maya brought to him lustful things, beautiful women trying to get him out of his meditation, trying to get him back into the illusion, desire, trying to raise the desire of, his mind, the little mind. Not that it's good, bad, right or wrong, or sin, or all these concepts. It's part of the story. You see these temptations. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil, the Christians say. But evil did not mean something bad. It just meant part of, the opposite of heaven, the opposite of peace, the opposite of joy, which causes suffering, all these things. So the Buddha, as he sat, the Maya brought him all these things, said, no, I'm not getting up from my lotus posture, my lotus position until I'm totally free. So let's try something else. Let's try to scare him with demons. So they brought the most hideous, fearful things, and the Buddha just sat. These are all constructs of the mind. It's all part of Maya. And then the demons disappear. That's what you realize when you realize your true nature, all these things that we were afraid of, all these things that fear, these demons, these viruses, they're just a construct of the mind, that our mind, our Buddha mind, our true mind, our true heart is much more powerful than anything the dark can throw at us. Any of these false projections, which some might call demons, some might call viruses. Viruses, the body of the mind, we're way much more stronger when you resonate with these frequencies of love, of compassion, of truth. That's what we teach. So as the Buddha sat and was tempted and tried to be these fearful things and these things of hunger, these things of anger, all these things. And the Buddha said, nah, these will not tempt me out of my practice, until this moment of illumination, when he realized that I am that I am. I am Buddha. He reached to the heaven and touched the earth. And he said, in the heavens and upon the earth, I alone am the world honored one. And we end this here. That's what that was, the gnosis, the knowledge that once he turned off that internal dialogue and his mind reflected itself perfectly, the mind of truth, the mind of God, the mind of source, reflected itself perfectly. The mind realizes, the heart realizes that I am that I am. I am the way, the truth, and the light. No longer am I fooled or tricked by this matrix, by this Maya, by this illusion. We can live out a life, we can live out our story, as we are meant to, but we come now from a place of pure presence. We come from truth and unity consciousness, we might call cosmic consciousness or Christ consciousness. These are all concepts pointing to the same moon. This is what we're revealing in this talk today, in this teaching today, through this lesson, through this teaching. So the Buddha, in his enlightenment, in his awakening, in his samadhi, he came up with his own system. He started the wheel of Dharma. This when he went out and taught the world, taught his people the way. We call the eightfold path, how to overcome suffering, how to, free yourself from Maya, and through these, what we call spiritual arts. You can call it whatever you want, through our meditation, through our knowledge, our gnosis of the sutras. See, the sutras were the sacred teachings, such as the Heart Sutra of Avalokitesvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion, we call Kuan Yin or Guan Yin, where we realize emptiness is form, form is emptiness. This is freeing, exposing the paradox of the matrix as we transcend duality in these final days. You see, so the Buddha came up with, the Buddha. We say I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. The Buddha is the awakened mind, the awakened one. The Dharma is the truth through these teachings, through these arts, through these practices. And Sangha is the community, is the collective of like-minded individuals that care more about truth and enlightenment than about being right, about being, special, being self-important, these egoic things, the two faces of the false ego. See, the ego is neutral. The ego is the I am presence, but it got converted to the duality, the two false faces being greater than in self-importance or less than in self-pity. We bring the two into balance where we're not greater than, we're not less than, we're not better than, we're not, victims or victimizers. This is what we're freeing ourself from, our body, our mind, our spirit. So thank you. I'm going to end that on this note. We appreciate you all. We're very grateful for all of you that support us in our work and mission. Have a most beautiful, blessed, pink, full Scorpio moon. A most beautiful day of Vesak if you celebrate the teachings, the knowledge of the Buddha. If you're Jewish, your Passover, and Hanuman in the Hindu, whatever day it is for you, just celebrate life. Celebrate your breath. Enjoy these times with your family, with your divine counterpart, if you're with him or her, or your children. If you have children, we have 3 beautiful children, and we celebrate every day with them and bring as much joy and peace and happiness. We're all challenged through these times, but we do the best we can, and live from our heart and connect to life itself, you see our connection through this quantum field. So have a most beautiful, blessed day. We appreciate each and every one of you. Namaste. Aho. The eagle and the condor love you all. Namaste. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum.